Glory be to God. It is January 4th, 2022, on my way to work. But God put this on my spirit to share with y'all. So this is the situation. I have an ex-wife. I got two ex-wives, okay? And I got one, I guess what people call baby mama. A mother of my child. When I got married at 21 years old. My ex-wife was 27. She had got pregnant, and not really talking to nobody, not really knowing anything about relationships and love. It felt good. I married her because it felt good, but I didn't know anything about her. And I did it because she had got pregnant, and I thought that's what a man's supposed to do, to step up, is to have responsibility for his actions, and her getting pregnant was me having responsibilities. So that's why I married her. But we didn't last long. We only lasted for about 2 years. I think we was married for about 3 years, but we was separated for about a year and a half. We ended up having 2 children within those 3 years, which is my 2 oldest children. During the whole time, this woman put child support on me for no reason. I was always willing to help her with child support. I was always willing to be in my children's lives. Went to court multiple different times trying to get custody or more visitation rights, let me say. Trying to split it halfway. We lived in LA, so I felt like we should be able to split, their custody in half and still have them go to the same school. If it was 15 days at their house, at the mother's house, and she takes them to school and pick them up, and 15 days with me, and if I take them and pick them up. But that never took place. She lied and always went into court and lied. Her boyfriend at the time had 2 strikes on him, way older than me. He was older than her, so we probably had 10, 12-year age difference. So I remember, before I even knew who this dude was, she was cheating on me while we was married, and having this dude live in our house, because I had ended up staying with a friend of mine while we was trying to reconcile our marriage. I was real young. I was young and dumb. And, she would lie and stuff, and it got to the point she didn't allow me to see my children. On top of that, the guy that she was with, he pulled a gun on me, pointed it at me. When my sister went to go serve her with some papers so I could get more visitation. For the longest, I thought my youngest son by her was his son. And then I had a friend help me, gave me the money to get a paternity test, and come to find out my son was my son. But he always thought it was his son. And, we didn't find this out until my son was like 5, 6 years old. But 4, I want to say about 4. Let me say that. About 4 or 5 years old. And this woman would have my children call this man dad and call me by my first name. Like, child support, man, the dude would try to fight me every time we did drop-offs. I didn't do, he just didn't like me based off what she lied to him about. She made it seem like I was an abuser, like I abused her and everything else. She was very manipulating, deceiving, and it, I used to tell myself, man, I just wanted her to get beat up, right? I was like, man, I could get somebody to beat her ass excuse my language, I get somebody to beat her up and not hurt her, just beat her up. Because it was still my children's mom. I don't want nothing to happen to her. And this went on for years. I'm 40, I'll be 43 on the 7th. This went on for years, people, that I had this feeling of, man, I do not like this woman. This woman been lying and cheating and keeping my kids from me, and just a thorn in my side, and just a whole lot of drama, right? And then I remember giving myself to the Lord, and before I even did that, I remember the Lord speaking to me and telling me, he pretty much had me repent and apologize without me even knowing it. Because I had to apologize to her for everything I did to her, right? Did not even ask for an apology in return. Never till this day have I gotten an apology from this woman. It's okay. I'm not worried about that. But I always, and then, I had to be real with myself and apologize to God for the things I did. And this is before I even gave my life to the Lord. But I remember doing this, and I could feel the weight off my shoulders. Like, I felt replenished. I felt like relieved when I did this. I felt good, because like I said, I didn't ask for a apology in return. And I said to myself, I probably won't never get an apology in return. So at the same time, I'm going through all this baby mama drama, all this hate, all this child support, was killing me so bad. I was homeless at times, staying with folks, sleeping in uncomfortable places at people's houses because I didn't, and I had a job, I had a good job. I had a job that made a lot of money, but I was young and I didn't know anything about getting, it was the worst years of my life in my 20s that I really didn't even get to live. I didn't get to party and celebrate like everybody else did. One of the things that I wish I experienced growing up, in my 20s was when the All-Star game went out to Vegas, you know what I'm saying? And everybody was celebrating and partying, and when the All-Star came to LA, and, I wanted, then I was living in the world, so I wanted to experience all those worldly pleasures. That was one of my regrets. I never went out, been to nice restaurants. I couldn't go on dates like I wanted to because I didn't have no money. I was living in rooms and back of garages and stuff like that. Even recently, a couple years back, after I gave my life to the Lord, I remember calling up my ex-wife, excuse me, and asking her, hey, can you, I know I'm paying child support. Can we switch it that I'm paying off the rears first? You're still getting your money, and lower the child support, and I'll just pay off the rears. She told me no. She didn't want to do that. Even though you're going to get the same amount of money, it's just going to go backwards. Pay the rears, lower child support. She didn't want to do that. And it hurt me. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm doing everything I'm supposed to do. I'm picking up these kids every weekend, driving 50, 60 miles every Friday in traffic, on the 10 freeway, on the 210 freeway, to pick up my kids, to have someone that I was dealing with at the time watch them while I went to work and only really got a couple hours to spend with them. I did this for years. Even when I had got my own place in LA, and I'm happy that I'm getting my children. But the only thing we only had to eat was peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. But I was happy because I was in my own place and I had my children. And I made sure I had some toys for them to play with. But I was happy. God provided that for me. I had a one-bedroom apartment, and I didn't have much, but I had my own place for so long. Now I have my own place. And I couldn't take my kids to McDonald's, but I was able to make them a peanut butter and jelly sandwich for breakfast. Lunch and dinner. I didn't care. I was able to spend time with my children that I was not being allowed to see. When I finally was able, the woman put me through a whole lot of hurt and pain. She requested supervised visits like I was some type of stranger to them. And all I ever wanted was to be around my children. I would get on the bus. I didn't have a car. I had 3 children. And the 2 with my ex-wife stayed in West LA, and my other one stayed in Compton. And I just remember it was my off day, which was a Friday. I had Thursday, Friday off. I had to make sure my schedule matched the days I was able to get my children. And I remember just getting on the bus. Getting on the bus to pick up my children. It was an all-day process because I had to go from the West LA, and I stayed in Hawthorne, so I had to go pick them up, then go pick up the other one, or I would go pick up the younger one, and then go pick up the other 2. No, I had to go pick up. It was just it was a strain. And these women that I was dealing with, it didn't matter if I said, hey, I got $10 for gas, can you drop them off at my house? They felt, I'm gonna hurt you. You're gonna have to walk and get on buses to get them. Rain, sleet, or snow. They didn't care if it was snowing. If it was rain, they did not care. My babies was young. I remember holding my 3-year-old while my 4 and 5-year-old had to hold each other's hands. My 4 and 6-year-old had to hold my hands while I carried the 3-year-old. See, but I did it. If that's what it took for me to see my children. I always tell myself, my children can't come at me ever and say what they're not able to do because their children's mom is holding their children away from them. Because it was important, even though I had 3 boys, 2 baby mamas, that they grew up knowing each other. That they grew up as brothers, not stepbrothers. Y'all last names is Johnson. So that was important to me, for them to grow up knowing each other. I didn't want them to grow up later on in their years and they don't have a bond or whatever because they don't really know each other. Because I didn't make it happen. I didn't get no help from my sisters. I didn't get no help from my dad. I didn't get no help from my mother. It was just me. It was just me. But this woman put me through the struggle. Even when I was renting out a room, when I first gave my life to the Lord, after my wife, my second wife put me out, right? I remember talking to my children's, my first ex-wife, and asking her, "Hey, can you lower the child support by 100 so I could get my own place?" Right now, I'm living in, I'm renting out a small room, and I got teenagers that got to sleep on the floor like sardines. You know what she told me? No. She told me no. Because I guess the money that she was getting for the child support, because she was getting like almost a G a month, that was going towards whatever she was using that money for. It didn't go towards my children. It was plenty of times that my children didn't have haircuts, nice shoes, nice clothes. And I'm asking her, why is my children looking the way they looking? I'm paying you all this child support. Why is my son begging me to pay for him to join a basketball league when I pay you this child support? Why is my other son can't get the acting coaching that he desires and that's his passion when I'm paying you child support? See, that's what child support is for. It ain't to pay your bills. Sorry. Because guess what? If you didn't have those children, you'll be paying your own bills. That's what I believe. You're not going to sit up without paying the bills and having your own place. Putting food, feeding yourself. If you want to take a little bit of portion to help feed the kids, that's fine, but you had another man in the house. You had another man in the house. That's his responsibility. To pay the bills, to make sure the bills is paid, to put food on the table, to keep a roof over your head. That's his responsibility. My responsibility was to be there for my children, to be a parent. Make sure I'm providing for them, which I was, through child support. Never argue. The only time I went back to court to get it modified is because I went from one job that was making this much to the next job was making this much, so I had to get it modified to, I'm not going to pay child support that with where I was making this much money at. I got to pay child support for where I'm making this much money at. But man, my only thing was, man, I can't wait till these children turn 18 and I don't have to deal with their mom no more. Well, my youngest from that marriage, he's 17, he'll be 18 on the 10th of February. Child support won't stop soon as he graduates from high school. Then I can get it adjusted and then it won't be a problem. But imagine this, man. I'm going through drama, not with just this one parent, but with my youngest son's mom also. See, she was spiteful. She was cheating on me. We was never married, but we was playing house, and she was getting money from other dudes that she used to deal with before she met me. And let me put it like this: my ex-wife, we didn't have no communication. If I try to communicate, she did not like to communicate. My baby mama, we didn't have no trust. She couldn't trust me, even though I showed her numerous different times that, hey, I want this to work, but we was the break up, and I was living with her. So when she gets mad, she'll put me out. I don't have nowhere to go. Of course, I probably got to reach out to someone that I didn't want to reach out to live with them until whatever, because I didn't want to sleep in my car in the streets of LA, even though it was days that I did. My whole life was packed up in the trunk of my car. And she did the same type of thing. She never really held me away from my son. She was more, take him, because it gives her free time to do what she wanted to do, to run the streets or whatever. But it was the other drama. Can you drop him off? No. I gotta give you $15 on gas. No. You know, I had to get on a bus and then drive, and then get on a bus and then go pick my son up from school, then walk a half a mile to get to the train, to take a train to take me to another bus that's gonna take me to my other kids. It didn't matter if it was raining or anything. But she always made it hard. Got in my business. Any female that I was with, she'll try to, you know, why you with him? But she had a dude. You know what I'm saying? Why you with him? He ain't no good. He's this. I didn't do that with her. Any man that she was with, hey, maybe he doing something that I was not doing. But I'm not going to say you need to leave her. You know? Same thing with child support. Didn't matter if I was helping out, doing what I'm supposed to do. She'll lie and go to court. Or even when I started having, when my son, when he started getting older and started being disobedient to her, he'll live with me, and then we'll do the back and forth thing. Next thing you know, he going back to her, and she putting child support right back on me. But when he was living with me, I didn't ask for no child support. I didn't ask for none of her money. Why? Because I knew God was going to provide for me. He was going to give me anything that I needed. I'm going to have to continue this video.